Have you ever wondered why some people seem to make brilliant decisions, while others stumble from one mistake to another? What if I told you there is an ancient secret used by emperors and philosophers that can completely transform your decision-making ability? In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the Stoic principles that the most successful leaders in history have used to make tough decisions and achieve greatness. Get ready to discover how ancient wisdom can be your secret advantage in the modern world. Imagine being at a crossroads in life. On one side, a decision that could change everything. On the other, paralyzing uncertainty. Your heart races, your mind spins. What if you choose wrong? What if you lose everything? Take a deep breath. There's a better way to navigate these turbulent waters. An approach that not only calms your mind, but also reveals the path to true and lasting success. The ancient Stoics, more than 2,000 years ago, developed powerful principles for making wise decisions in times of uncertainty. These principles have not only stood the test of time, but have also proven to be incredibly relevant in today's fast-paced world. Let's dive into the first of these transformative principles, the dichotomy of control. It sounds complicated, doesn't it? But it's surprisingly simple and profoundly powerful. It's about focusing only on what we can control and letting go of the rest. Think about it. How many times have you stayed awake at night worrying about things that are completely out of your control? The weather, other people's actions, uncertain future events. This worry changes nothing except your mental well-being. Now apply this to your next big decision. Let's say you're considering changing jobs. You can't control whether you'll get hired, but you can control the quality of your resume, your interview preparation, and your attitude. Focus on that. Put all your energy into what you can directly influence. By doing this, you not only reduce stress, but also increase your chances of success. It's like an athlete who focuses on their training and performance instead of worrying about other competitors or the final outcome. But what if things go wrong? That's where our next powerful tool comes in. Negative visualization, or as the Stoics called it, premeditatio malorum. Don't be scared by the Latin name. It's simply the act of imagining the worst possible scenario. Now you might be thinking, wait, won't that make me more anxious? Surprisingly, the opposite happens. By confronting your fears head-on, you strip them of their power over you. Let's go back to the job change example. Imagine the worst. You don't get the job, you run out of money, you lose your home. It sounds scary, right? But now, think about how you would handle it. You could stay with friends, take a temporary job, sell some things. It wouldn't be ideal, but you would survive. By doing this exercise, two things happen. First, you realize that even the worst scenario is manageable. Second, you start to see that reality is likely to be much better than your fears suggest. This technique has been used by leaders and thinkers throughout history. Steve Jobs, for example, used to ask himself every morning, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? This reflection helped him stay focused on what truly mattered. Now let's take a step back and look at our decisions from a different perspective. Stoics called this the view from above. It's like you can step out of your body and look at the situation as a neutral outsider. Think about a difficult decision you're facing now. Maybe it's about a relationship, a career change, or a big investment. Now imagine it's not you making this decision, but a close friend asking for your advice. What would you tell this friend? You would probably be able to see the situation more clearly, free from the turbulent emotions that usually cloud our judgment. You could weigh the pros and cons more objectively, consider the long-term consequences, and offer wise, balanced advice. This technique is particularly useful when we feel overwhelmed by emotions. It allows us to step back and gain a new perspective. It's like climbing to the top of a mountain and looking at the valley below. Suddenly, the path becomes much clearer. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in the world, uses a version of this technique. He imagines he has a punch card with only 20 slots for investments throughout his entire life. This forces him to be extremely selective and look at each investment decision from a broader, more impartial perspective. But what if you still find yourself at a crossroads, unable to decide? That's where the principle of the greater good comes in. The Stoics believe that all our actions should be guided by fundamental virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. When faced with a tough decision, we can ask ourselves, which choice is most aligned with these virtues? Which option contributes the most to the greater good, not just for me, but for those around me and for society as a whole? This may seem abstract, but in practice, it's incredibly powerful. Let's say you're considering accepting a new job that pays very well, but requires you to compromise your ethical values. Principle of the greater good would lead you to reject this offer, even if it means a short-term financial sacrifice. This principle not only simplifies decision-making, but also leads us to choices we can sustain in the long run. After all, true success is not just about material gains, but about living a life of integrity and purpose. The famous entrepreneur and philanthropist Bill Gates is a modern example of this principle in action. After amassing an immense fortune, he decided to dedicate most of his wealth and time to philanthropic causes, seeking the greater good for humanity. Now we come to the last and perhaps most profound Stoic principle, amor fati, or the love of fate. This concept teaches us to accept and even embrace the outcome of our decisions, whatever it may be. This doesn't mean passivity or resignation. On the contrary, it means giving your best in making and implementing decisions, but then accepting the result with grace and equanimity. Think of it like a professional poker player. He makes his moves based on the best available information and his skill, but once the cards are revealed, he accepts the outcome without becoming emotionally attached. This principle is incredibly liberating. It removes the paralyzing fear of making wrong decisions. After all, if you can accept and even love any outcome, what is there to fear? Nelson Mandela exemplified this principle during his 27 years in prison. Instead of becoming bitter about his situation, he chose to accept it and use it as an opportunity for personal growth and the eventual transformation of an entire nation. These Stoic principles, the dichotomy of control, negative visualization, the view from above, principle of the greater good, and amor fati, form a powerful toolkit for decision-making. They not only help us navigate tough choices, but also lead us to a richer, more meaningful, and ultimately more successful life. Imagine facing your next big decision armed with these tools. You focus on what you can control, prepare for the worst while expecting the best. You look at the situation from an impartial perspective, seek the greater good, and accept the outcome with grace. This approach not only leads to better decisions, but also to a more serene and fulfilling life. You become less reactive to external circumstances and more centered on your values and long-term goals. And the best part? These skills improve with practice. Each decision becomes an opportunity to apply these principles, to refine your wisdom, and to strengthen your character. Now, the next time you find yourself facing an important decision, stop, take a deep breath. Remember these Stoic principles. Apply them to your situation. You might be surprised at the clarity and confidence they bring. True and lasting success is not just about making the right choices, but about how you approach those choices. It's about cultivating a mindset that can handle any outcome, that seeks growth in every challenge, that maintains integrity in the face of adversity. These Stoic principles are not just tools for decision-making. They are a path to a well-lived life. A life of purpose, courage, and wisdom. A life where every decision, big or small, is an opportunity for growth and an expression of your deepest values. So before you make your next big choice, remember, you have within you the wisdom of millennia. Use it, trust it, and watch how it can transform not just your decisions, but your entire life.